So today, we're going to look at two open source projects that on the surface seem like they're from completely different worlds. One is a super practical tool for developers, born from the simple frustration of code that just keeps breaking. The other, it's a huge, bold vision for a future where AI is actually our trusted partner. But what if I told you they're basically two sides of the same coin?
Let's start with a problem that, if you're a developer, you know all too well. You're using one of these brilliant AI coding assistants, you ask it to make what seems like a totally simple change, and boom, suddenly your entire application just falls apart. Why does this keep happening? It's a frustration you see everywhere, all over developer communities, like this question from Reddit. Trying to get your head around a massive, complicated codebase, whether you're a human or an AI, is a huge challenge. It's like being dropped into a brand new city with no map, no street signs, nothing. And this right here is the heart of the problem, what we're calling the codebase conundrum. Our AI tools are getting unbelievably powerful, but they're still basically blind to the big picture. And that's a really big deal.
See, the problem isn't about intelligence. The AI is plenty smart. It's about awareness. It's like the AI can read a single page of a book perfectly, but it has no idea how that page fits into the rest of the chapter, let alone the whole story. It's playing one note perfectly, without having any clue about the symphony it's a part of.
So how do you fix that? How do you give the AI a map? Well, that brings us to the first hero of our story, a project called GitNexus, designed to be a nervous system for your code.
Okay, so what is it, really? In simple terms, GitNexus scans your entire codebase, all of it, and builds this amazing interactive map, a knowledge graph, of how every single piece is connected to every other piece. And here's the best part. It's zero server, and it runs completely in your browser. That means your code never ever leaves your machine. It's totally private, totally local, and incredibly powerful.
As one developer put it, it's like DeepWiki, but deeper. It doesn't just help you read the code, it gives your AI the superpower to reason about it, because it can see every single connection and dependency laid out right in front of it. And this is where you can really see the genius of GitNexus. A traditional AI has to painfully dig through all this raw data, trying to guess how things are connected. GitNexus just completely flips that on its head. It pre-computes the entire map of your code first, so the AI can see the whole picture in one clean, simple query. And what's cool is that it's built for two totally different jobs. If you're deep in development every day, you use the command line tool to plug this nervous system right into your AI assistants. But if you just want to quickly explore a new project or codebase, you can use the web interface for a fast visual analysis without installing a single thing. Okay, so GitNexus is this amazing tool for solving a really practical everyday problem. But what happens when you take that exact same technology and you apply it to a much, much bigger, more philosophical question? Well, that brings us to Agent Friday. Now, this is not just another tool. It's designed from the ground up to be a sovereign AI companion. What does that mean? It means it's yours, and only yours. It runs locally, on your machine, lives inside a heavily encrypted vault, and is built on this core idea that you, and only you, should have complete control over your AI. The entire philosophy of Agent Friday can be summed up in this one line. It doesn't rely on some corporate promise or a carefully worded prompt to keep you safe. No, its safety is built into its DNA, using cold, hard math.
So how on earth does it do that? With something they call claws, or cryptographic laws. Think of it like this. They take Asimov's 3 laws of robotics and embed them directly into the code. Then they create a unique digital fingerprint, a cryptographic hash of those laws. If anyone, anywhere, tries to change those laws by even a single letter, the fingerprint won't match anymore, and the agent just won't run. It's not a policy, it's a mathematical guarantee. And this idea is so important that it's baked into the very first time you ever meet the agent. You don't just click next, next, finish on an installer. No, you go through this almost cinematic ceremony called the awakening, which is designed to build a foundation of trust from the very first moment. It explains its mission, its privacy, and it even interviews you to understand who you are. So let's just recap for a second. On one hand, we have GitNexus, this incredibly practical tool for developers. On the other, we have Agent Friday, this huge, visionary AI companion. They seem like they're from completely different planets, right? Well, here comes the surprise connection that ties it all together. This is really the central question of this whole story. What in the world could a privacy-first, ethically bound AI
possibly have to do with a developer tool that just maps out code?
And the answer is actually shockingly simple. It's the big twist. Agent Friday is a direct fork of GitNexus. The ambitious philosophical AI was literally born from the practical, humble developer tool.
And when you stop and think about it, it makes perfect sense. For an AI to be truly safe, to actually follow something like Asimov's laws, it needs to understand the world and the context of its actions with incredible depth. It can't just follow rules blindly. It needs that nervous system that GitNexus provides, giving it the deep situational awareness it needs to make the right call. But this link isn't just about the code. It's about a shared ideology. And the creators of Agent Friday actually wrote it all down in this really powerful manifesto they call the Declaration of Digital Independence.
So the declaration starts by laying out some major grievances with the way tech works right now. It argues that we're constantly being spied on, we're locked into these closed ecosystems, and we're being served by AIs that have a fundamental conflict of interest. They're black boxes, and they're not really on our side.
And in response to all that, it proposes a new set of digital rights. The right to actually own our data, to see the code that runs our digital lives, to be protected by mathematical guarantees, and, this is the big one, to have AI companions that are architecturally undeniably loyal to us and only us.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of their entire argument. The real danger isn't artificial intelligence, it's artificial loyalty, an AI that pretends to be your friend while secretly serving its corporate masters. They believe loyalty shouldn't be a feature you can turn on or off. It should be a mathematical certainty.
And that really brings us to our final question. This whole journey, from a simple developer tool all the way to a full-blown declaration of digital rights, it kind of points to a very different future for AI. It asks us to imagine a world built not on a few massive centralized models from tech giants, but on a huge community of open, sovereign, and truly loyal AI agents that work together. So what path do you think we should be on?